Am I live? Awesome. Hello, Vue Amsterdam. I'm glad to be back here. I'm Kyriakidis, and I live here in Amsterdam. I wrote the first book on Vue.js back in 2016 because I wanted the developers to learn about this amazing new framework and make their work and lives easier. Over the years, I have contributed to Vue.js itself and the ecosystem, and I am the founder of Vue School. I have also worked as an enterprise consultant with a few companies where I helped them build some huge Vue.js applications. You can find me on the social networks like Twitter and GitHub under the username of Hootlex. And yeah, the website is vueschool.io if you didn't know about it. At Vue School, we're the first training platform for Vue.js. Over the years, we have created over 750 Vue.js video lessons, and we have trained over 140,000 Vue developers. And besides the core team, we have worked with a lot of people from the Vue community, a lot of experts and open source creators and maintainers. And all the people that you see here, they work with Vue School either as instructors or as contributors to the content that you watch or read. At Vue School, we cover all of the things Vue.js in our courses and in written tutorials on our blog. So we have everything from beginner level to advanced, from like Vue fundamentals to concepts like state management with Vuex, but also with Pinia, TypeScript, how to set up your code editor, Vue use, like composables, like all the cool stuff. And we release Vue videos and tutorials every week to make sure that the Vue developers stay up to speed with all of the developments in the community. At Vue School, we are popular for the Vue.js masterclass. That is a course where developers learn Vue.js, like production-ready Vue.js, by building a real-world application from scratch. So we start from nothing, and we implement things like authentication, databases, user permissions, and it's a great way to get from a beginner Vue.js developer level to an advanced level. Besides video courses and tutorials, we do workshops in-house, like the one that you see in the picture. It's from a conference, and we do workshops in-house for either conferences or at companies at the offices. And the last few years, we also host workshops online in our virtual classroom, and they're always like hands-on. Developers get to write a lot of code in order to learn. We have a very practical approach at Vue School. And we do have an in-person workshop next week in Miami, so if you happen to attend VueConf USA, you might want to check that out. If not, we do have an online workshop on the composition API in July, but I will tell you more about that in the end of the talk. So in Vue School, we have, like, over the years, we have developed all of these services, and recently we have released the ultimate Vue corporate training solution that includes access to like all Vue video courses, live workshops, bi-weekly Q&A, support sessions to support the developers learning, either with courses, workshops, or like when they're practicing what they learn, and access to the database for hiring Vue developers from the community who are actively looking for job opportunities. So if this sounds interesting, make sure to check out our website or talk to our team here at the booth at the conference. Today, my talk is about how Vite changes the game for Vue and web development. And it's funny, they told me like a few minutes ago that eventually we're running a bit early, so I can extend the talk like a bit longer, which was great news. A bit unfortunate that I was deleting my slides 2 hours earlier, but now I managed to bring some back in and create some new ones. So some of the parts of the talk I have not rehearsed yet. This will be the first go, but I'm sure it's going to be helpful. OK, so in this talk, I will cover what is Vite, why Vite is so great, how Vite works, how to use Vite with Vue or React, Vite in the Vue ecosystem, and I will answer some frequently asked questions in the end, like what happens with Vue CLI, what about Nuxt, testing, and things like this. Yeah, before I start, I want to ask you, like, how many of you know what Vite is? Like, please raise your hand if you know Vite. OK, not too bad. Like, maybe 35–40% of the audience. Nice. So before I go like in depth on what Vite is or what it does, I want to tell you that Vite is now the officially recommended build tool for Vue.js applications. And Vite is very important for front-end development in general, but especially for Vue.js, as of 2022, any new Vue projects you are going to create, they're going to be using Vite under the hood. So what is Vite? Vite is a new front-end build tool that significantly improves the front-end development experience. And Vite's goal is to make developers more productive. That sounds nice, right? But how do you make developers more productive? One way is by making developers happier. And how do you make developers happier? By making their tools faster. This is actually a quote from Evan You, who, I'm sure you know that he is the creator of Vue.js, but he's also the creator of Vite.js. What a human. OK, but what really Vite is? Vite consists of two parts. It has a dev server that runs while you are working on your application, like when you are developing, and it serves it in your browser so that you can test it and interact with it. And the build command that bundles your code with rollup for production, or for staging, or for when you're ready to ship it somewhere. Vite's dev server, you run it while you develop, and your code is served in your browser directly without being bundled. And that's how it is super fast, like really super fast. It's like opening your local files from your computer in your browser. So, like, for now, think of Vite's dev server as Vue CLI, but way, way faster. Vite's dev server starts in less than 300 milliseconds, and the hot module replacement updates in less than 100 milliseconds. And these are like nice small numbers, but from a human perspective, they're both instant. Like, at least for me, that's how like I perceive it. When I save or when I run, I immediately see the outcome in the browser. And to achieve that, Vite is leveraging the browser's native ES modules feature, which is a nice feature that all of the modern browsers support nowadays. And this is like a bit important to know that all of these years that we had the previous bundlers, like Webpack or how we did the full bundling, it's not that we didn't know that we could do it in a better way that is like so much faster and nicer. We also had to wait for the browsers to evolve and have features like this in order to be able to really use them and get support for all the developers and like make them more global, to say. Vite's dev server utilizes ESBuild under the hood for supporting bare imports, hot module replacement, and tools like TypeScript. So even though it just serves files, sometimes there need to be some processing to happen for this to show up in the browser. So for this, Vite is utilizing ESBuild, and ESBuild is pretty cool because it's written in Go, and it compiles to native code, while most of the other like compilers or transpilers, they're written in JavaScript, which makes them way slower. And also ESBuild uses parallelism heavily, which is not as like common in JavaScript, I think. And here I have a nice benchmark comparing ESBuild with some other solutions when they compile or like they bundle a large JavaScript code base. So we have ESBuild. When it is using parallelism, it takes 0. Less than half a second anyways. And then ESBuild with one thread, it takes 1.5 seconds. And then the next faster solution, which is rollup, it takes 36 seconds. This is 100 times slower than when using ESBuild. So imagine how nice this feels when you are working with Vite or in your application and you want to run it. Imagine how nice it might be like running it 100 times faster. And yeah, then you see in the comparison, Webpack is a little slower, Webpack 5 even a bit more slower, etc. So you might understand that Vite's dev server solves the common enterprise problem. That is, as the application grows, the dev server becomes slower and slower, but not with Vite. And yeah, to show you how this happens, this is a chart of the traditional bundle-based dev server. So this is how your Vue CLI Webpack or like maybe Nuxt bundling works. So this is not how Vite does it. So when you run your dev server, when you run npm run dev or serve, your module bundler goes to your entry point. The entry point, it might be your main.js or your app.js file. And then it will load up all of your routes, so all of the pages and like possibilities in the application. And for every route, it will load up the page components, the other components, dependencies, modules, make a big bundle. And when this like full process is ready, it will give the server ready signal, which means that you as a developer, you can open it in the browser and you can mingle it with your application. So as you can imagine, this is not ideal if you have hundreds of routes and thousands of modules. This might take a while, like it might take minutes. But with Vite, like by leveraging the native ES modules feature, we can have a totally different approach. And in fact, Vite does this kind of like vice versa. The first thing it does is to give the server ready signal. So what we get last in the traditional module bundling, now we get it first. And what this means is that when you run it, you can access it in your browser. You can go to your application and you can open one page, the one that you are going to test. So for example, if you are going to test the home page, that will be your entry point. It will load up the route. So if it's the home page, it will be the home route. And it will only load the components and the dependencies for this single route. So it doesn't matter how many routes you have in total, because Vite only cares about the one that you are now testing in your browser. Once you navigate away from it, like if you click a link and you go to the profile page, then it will pick this up, it will load the modules, and you will also have this in your browser very quickly. And this is a very elegant approach. And for enterprise software, it was common to need to make a custom solution, like when using traditional bundling. And oftentimes it looked like this, like maybe not with a server ready first, but it was needed to create a process that you're not bundling like this massive application that has like 1,000 different features and options, but we needed to make something that will process the application in chunks. And I have been involved in making custom bundling processes for large software, and I can tell you it's fun. It's fun when you make it, when you perceive the idea, like figure out how to split it, how to make groups of routes, groups of modules, and bundle it. So it is fun the first times, but when you start investing in it, like the time and the spend and the maintenance you need to do a custom bundling, it's like, yeah, definitely not worth it, in my opinion, and especially when you can get a better solution for free using Vite.js. And that is what makes Vite.js so revolutionary and so much needed nowadays, where we have massive front-end applications and massive Vue.js applications out there. OK, and that does it for the first part, the Vite dev server. And the second part is much simpler. It's Vite the build command, it's just a command. You run it. It bundles your app. You can put for production, for staging, ship it. And this bundling takes place using rollup. So not using ESBuild here for a few reasons. Why rollup? Because rollup is the best performing JavaScript-based bundler in terms of build size, tree shaking, and output size. And the build command, when you run it, it takes longer than the dev server. Why? Because it needs to bundle the full application, not just the things that you want to serve, like the active entry point. You want to bundle the complete application, make your package, get it out there. But Yobo, you only build once, so you don't care so much about this performance. It's a dev server that you run every few minutes. Like every time you make a change in your code base, you want the dev server to take this hot module replacement, see it in the browser. And even Yobo, it's still way faster than the traditional Webpack Vue CLI command. And yeah, so you can benchmark on this soon. Vite's build command also has opt-in legacy browser support. So there is a very cool plugin that you can install to achieve legacy browser support. So if in your company or your application it's important to still have support for our old PAL, like Internet Explorer 11, you can do that by easily installing a plugin, and this will automatically adjust the build command to add these polyfills in there. So to summarize, Vite provides a super fast development experience, and you get a great bundle output size using Rollup when building for production. So Vite is awesome. Yeah, a question that we get often, I think mainly because Vite is created from Evan Hu, is Vite made for Vue? The answer is no. Vite is framework agnostic. So Vite works with a lot of frameworks in the front end, and more frameworks add support for Vite because they're going to get advantage of all of the benefits that it offers. So nowadays, Vite offers a blazing fast development experience for Vue, React, Preact, Svelte, and more. And if you think about it, it wouldn't be fair if, with the Vue developers, we can use Vite and we can have a super fast development server. We can load the app and work nicely locally in 1 second, and then React and Preact developers, they would have to wait for 2 minutes to load the app in the browser. That's not fair game. Cool. Yeah, I will skip this slide because I will show you this live, since we do have time for this. So, this is messed up. Is this visible? Is good? Yeah. Tim, I'm doing this for you, man. OK. Great. So once you get started with Vite, this is the Vite's homepage, very pretty. Once you click Get Started, and if you scroll around, you will find the first command that allows you to create a new Vite application. New Vite application can be anything, like any framework or boilerplate you need to do it. So I will copy-paste it here, run it, project name, yeah, let's call it Vite project. And here we can choose if we want a vanilla JavaScript project, Vue project, React, blah, blah, blah. And I will not choose Vue.js, because I will show you a better way to do Vue.js apps with Vite. So for this example, I will do a React application. Yeah, just React is fine. So it's done. Now we need to copy-paste this, run it. OK, that was a fast npm install. And now notice that it took about half a second to run. This is the cold start, the slowest start you will ever have, because it was the first one, and now we get a lot of things cast. So before I show you anything else, I will stop this and run again npm run dev, npm run dev, to show you that now it runs just in 181 milliseconds. So this means that once you run it, you do have this live in your browser immediately. And this scales. It's not that it happens, come on. It's not that it happens the first time. As your application grows and you have more routes and more modules, it doesn't matter, because it can always find the ones that you are using. So we'll open this in the browser to also show you the hot module replacement. So this is how the React application looks like. So if you go up JSX, here we have the hello Vite plus React. I will make this hello Vue Amsterdam. Nice span under the React logo. Cool. And you see that it changes directly. So I will do this again. So I will do this hello Vue Amps, and I will not hit save to show you how fast it is. So now my file is not saved yet, but once I hit save, it will automatically show up in the browser. It's literally changing the file on the spot. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, save, and you see it changes immediately. Cool. So let's do a Vue.js application. So like I said, for Vue.js applications now, Vite is the default way of creating new Vue.js apps. So if you go to the Vue.js website, make this look a little bigger, and you click install, then scroll around. The first command you find on how to create a new Vue application, it's npm init Vue at latest. And this command will install and execute create Vue. the official Vue project scaffolding tool. And create Vue, it uses Vite.js under the hood. It's essentially a Vite application optimized for Vue.js projects. So we'll go back and run this command. Now notice that we don't need to install anything locally because we get everything from npm. So the first time we run it, it will say, yeah, we need to install this to proceed. We'll say yes. OK, hope that's not too bad. We get this fancy like gradient for Vue.js. Let's call this Vue project. And now we do have the project wizard from the Vue.js application. So it will ask us if we want TypeScript. Let's say no. JSX, no. Add Vue router for single-page applications, sure. Pinia for state management, that's nice. I will take that. No vtest, no Cypress, and all good. So this is also created. So I will copy-paste the commands to run it in the browser. Fingers crossed for npm install. All good. Again, we get the coldest start, like the slowest at 459 milliseconds. Again, it's instant. But yeah. And we do have our application in the browser, and now with a new, this is what you get with a Create Vue app. This is the default template of new Vue applications. And since we have added Vue router, we also have this SPA, or like pages feature. And again, if we open this in the editor and make a change, it will be instant once you hit save. And this applies in all of the things that you do in your code base. So every time you make a change, it will replace in the browser, and it will also keep your state. So if you have data or like variable stores, you can still continue testing and making changes on your code at the same time. So hello, Vue Amsterdam. There we go. OK, that's it with a live showing. So you see like how Vite is like super nice in creating new applications and very fast when you are developing, but it also helps in other like developer experience tools, like for example Replit. If you're not familiar with Replit, it's an online code editor. It's very similar to Code Sandbox. And here is the CEO of Replit testing create React app on the one side and the Vite React on the other. And if you notice the create, like the Vite is ready in the first, let's see, like 10 seconds, while the create React app, it has not even started the process. Like it takes almost like 40 seconds to complete the build. So, and this tweet is a bit old, so I'm sure nowadays at Replit they use Vite for all of their front-end frameworks, Vue, React, etc., and they can achieve like very good performance for all the developer tools they make. Another reference here is this person who migrated from the Quasar, like the Vue.js framework, from Webpack to Vite.js in less than an hour to do the full migration. And then he saved about like 90% of the time in every, no. 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 Yeah, I thought it was smart to embed the tweet directly. It was not eventually. OK. Cool. Yeah, I will not play this again because I don't know what will happen. But you can see that the Webpack, it needed almost 6 seconds to run, while Vite needs just half a second. And the full process for the migration, it was about an hour. OK. I will not do this again. Great. So when comparing Vite with Vue CLI, Vite is at least 10 times faster. Like it can go up to like 100 times faster, but I like to take the lowest case and say that it is at least 10 times faster than Vue CLI. And Vite is also quite popular already. It's been around for about a bit less than 2 years, but it's already getting a lot of attention because it is like so awesome for the developers. So as of now, it has over 1 million downloads weekly on NPM, 40,000 stars on GitHub, a lot of followers, Discord members, and one that I think is very important is the last one, that it has more than 500 contributors. Like, more than 500 people have contributed to Vite.js in order to make it better and make the tool that we have today. OK, so you want to migrate from Vue CLI to Vite, you say. Then I have good news for you, because the migration process is quite simple, unless you are having very complex Webpack configurations or like custom plugins and things like that. The process is very straightforward. And we also have a free tutorial on Vue School how to do that. So if you want to do it, you can Google how to migrate from Vue CLI to Vite. That's a good title, isn't it? And you will find the guide to do it. And we also cover the migration in our advanced Vite course, rapid development with Vite, which is more advanced in general. It's how to create plugins and configs, and yeah, how to use Vite efficiently. And we have a few lessons covering several cases of migrating from Vue CLI. Cool. Then Vite is also capable of server-side rendering and static-side generation. And for the server-side rendering part, I want to point out that it is still experimental, so it is not stable yet, but it's in a pretty good state, I would say. There is already a great ecosystem of tools in the front-end world that utilize Vitest under the hood to create like good tools for developers. I cannot cover them all. I think there's like a few hundreds already, but I will cover a few like highlights. First one is Vitepress. If you were familiar with Vuepress, Vitepress is essentially the same, but using Vite. It is way, way faster and lighter. And this is also work in progress in a matter of like version, but it's already being used in production. And I want to point out that Vitepress is not coupled to Vite projects, so it is using Vite in order like to be built or in order to like utilize it and create internal docs, etc. But it can be used in any JavaScript project, so even in a React project, for example, that need a quick static site generator. And even though it's still in work in progress, some live examples of Vitepress is this like 3 sites. And notice the first one, Vuejs.org, is the documentation that you read every day, and it's all built with Vitepress. The same for the Vue.js blog and the Vite.js, their website. Okay, next we have Vitest, which is a blazing fast unit testing framework powered by Vite. Again, it can be used outside of Vite applications, but it is powered by Vite, and it is super fast, has only one entry point for config, and I will give you a bit more info about Vitest later. And lastly, we'll have like Histoire in French, or like Historia in Greek. And this is a new way to write stories. I know like Guillaume did a detailed explanation about it yesterday, but it's a really cool tool for Vue developers, especially because it has such a similar API with the Vue components, and it allows you to create stories without changing your mindset or your process. So yeah, besides of these like highlights, there is a lot of Vite-powered applications and tools that make developers' experience better, thanks to Vite. Cool. And then I have some like frequently asked questions about Vite and how things are changing for the front end and especially for Vue.js. So is Vite ready for production? The answer to that is yes, it is. And in fact, Vite is stable since February 2021. So if you're not using already, you should definitely check it out. Does Vite replace Vue CLI? The answer is yes. Vue CLI is currently in maintenance mode, and at some point it will be deprecated, and in the future we will be using Vite for all the Vue applications, which is already the recommended solution. How about Nuxt.js? That's also a very common question, and this is great news for Nuxt.js users, because Vite is just making Nuxt way faster. And as Sebastian Chopin, the creator of Nuxt, said, Nuxt 3 will support Vite by default, and Puya has said that the Nuxt 3 architecture allows using Webpack and Vite interchangeably with an option. So I think they are doing this because the server-side rendering of Vite is still experimental. So you can use Webpack for the SSR, but you can still use Vite for the SPA or static or everything else. So this means you have a way faster dev experience now with Nuxt, or you will have with Nuxt 3. But the Nuxt team, they also got into the effort to make a Vite plugin for Nuxt 2, so that you can have a Vite experience with your current applications. And what I really like about this plugin is that it is so easy to use. This is the full instructions. So if you are using Nuxt.js, pay attention to this slide. So all you have to do is to install this package with npm on yarn, whatever, and then you make this change in your Nuxt config, and that's it. You can now enjoy a super fast Nuxt dev experience with Vite. So this is really impressive and must be great for Nuxt devs. Next question, how about TypeScript? Also great news for TypeScript users, because with Vite, TypeScript runs 20 to 30 times faster in development when using Vite. Then, do I need to learn Vue from scratch? No, it doesn't change at all the way you use Vue. Do I need to rebuild my Vue CLI application from scratch? The answer again to that is no. You just need to migrate at some point, so it's not urgent to say, but the faster you do it, the more you benefit from it, because you save time every day, every time you click save, every time you make changes in your code base. You would have saved at least a few seconds if you were using Vite. So if you can take a few hours or maybe a few days, if you have a big application and you are a big team to migrate, then do it. You will thank me later. Then how about test runners? And test runners was a challenge initially for Vite.js, because most of the unit testing solutions were aimed and optimized to work with common JS module imports, while Vite is all ES modules based. But nowadays, there are various solutions, including Vite Jest, which is a port for Jest that runs in Vite. You still need to maintain a common JS version of your app, though, but you can use Jest, and you can continue using it if you already have a Jest library. Then there is Cypress, which works perfectly fine with Vite, and in fact, they also make a few tools that are built on top of Vite. And lastly, we have Vitest, and I think this is the most elegant solution for testing Vite applications or testing in general, because it is fully built with Vite, and it doesn't need an alternative configuration for setting up your test running or your test setup. It can load your Vite configuration file, and you can run all of your testing suite in one language. And I think it's also the fastest, to be honest. Cool. Then why you pronounce Vite and not Vite? Again, great question. I also think it was Vite when I first saw the word. But Vite, it means fast or rapid in French. And when I heard about this, it immediately clicked to me. Because when I was a child, my mom used to say, and yeah, that's me as a child, used to say Vite, when she wanted me to do fast, like when we were going to leave or when I wanted to move fast. And I doubt she knew that that is French, but only the sound, it makes sense, especially when you're a kid. You're like, yeah, Vite, like it's fast, rapid, like go quickly. Cool. Then where can I find Vite jobs or Vite developers? Another very good question. And for this, we recently released the Vue.js hiring app at Vue School. I think it was last week that it went out of early access testing. And if you're a developer who knows Vite, you can sign up for free, create your your profile, and in your skill set intake, you can check the box that you know Vite. And on the other side, if you are a company looking for Vite.js developers, you can sign up, try the app for free, and apply your stack, and just mention that you're using Vite to find these nice, cool devs. So how the Vue.js hiring app works very quickly. As a company, you specify some criteria of your stack, like we use Vuetify, Vuex, and TypeScript, and then some other criteria that are important for your team, like years of experience, full stack, location, etc. And then you find developers who are the best fit for this, and you can connect and you can chat. So we think this is like a great step for the Vue community. As a developer, you can like make your profile and find the ideal job role where you can use what you love, and as a company, you can find the most targeted, like the best fit for what you're looking for. Cool, and that is the core concept of my talk regarding Vite. Regarding the upcoming Vue events, yeah, I messed up the transitions a little bit. Cool. So regarding the upcoming Vue events that I mentioned earlier, we do have a workshop next week in Miami on state management in Vue.js with Pinia. So if you're attending VueConf US, check it out. On July 13th and 14th, we have an online free event which is hands-on, and I think this is very exciting because it hasn't happened before. We are making like a free event for all of the Vue community where you sign up, you make your profile, and you will be like in a matchmaking system with other people from like your local community. We try to match people from same cities or countries, or that can work together. And then during the conference, you will be working in a team of like mixed skills, and you will be developing like a surprise real-world application from scratch, while we will also have presentations from very cool speakers like Evan Hu, Eduardo from the core team, and many other guys who will also be live coding. So it will be only hands-on, no theory. And lastly, July 21st, we have a workshop online on the Vue 3 composition API. And this is usually a paid workshop, but this time we're doing a giveaway, and we're giving 200 tickets for free. So if you're interested in this one, you can join the raffle on this link, which is not public yet, so you cannot find it unless you take a picture. So if you want to be the first one that joined the raffle, you can follow that URL. And yeah, good luck. Hope you win and see you there. So yeah, at Vue School we have, OK. I'll give you 3 more seconds, like 3, 2, 1. OK, cool. So yeah, to close, I'll repeat that the Vue.js team training solutions, we cover like the most comprehensive Vue video library. We do intensive workshops on Vue topics very often, and we do provide bi-weekly support sessions for teams and companies, plus the database for hiring Vue devs. So if you're interested in any of these services, make sure to visit us at our booth here at the conference, and grab also your free limited edition Vue School t-shirt. And this is the first time we do the t-shirt giveaway, so I really hope that you enjoyed it. It's a very much requested thing to do for the booths. And of course, like, say hi and grab our stickers. Thank you very much.